Hello everyone. Today, let us continue with the poem The Scholar Gypsy, stanza 11 to 15, that is lines 101 to 150. Stanza 11, lines 101 to 110. At some lone homestead in the Cumnor Hills, where at her open door the housewife dance, thou hast been seen, or hanging on a gate, to watch the threshers in the messy barns. The poet is seen near a remote farmhouse in Cumnor Hills, where the housewife do the mending work at her door. The poet is there to watch the threshers beating the crops in the barn. Children who early range these slopes and late for cresses from the rills have known thee eyeing all an April day the springing pasture and the feeding kine, and marked thee when the stars come out and shine through the long dewy grass move slow away. The children wander in the slopes in the morning and later go to the stream for the plant cress. They have found the scholar during the month of April watching the pasture and the cows feeding on it. They identify him when the stars shine through the long dewy grass as he moves slowly away. Stanza 12, lines 111 to 120. In autumn, on the skirts of Bagley Wood, where most the gypsies by the turf-edged way pitch their smoked tents, and every bush you see with scarlet patch tagged and shreds of grey. In autumn, the scholar was seen near the Bagley Woods. It is a place where the gypsies pitch their tents. The bushes in this place has a scarlet-coloured patched clothes dried by the gypsies. Above the forest ground called Thessaly, the black bird, picking food, sees thee, nor stops his meal, nor fears at all. So often has he known thee, past him stray, wrapped, twirling in thy hand a withered spray, and waiting for the spark from heaven to fall. In Thessaly, the black bird does not fear by seeing the scholar. It continues to eat its meal as the scholar has passed him, often with a withered twig. The scholar waits for the divine illumination from heaven. Now it is stanza 13, line 121 to 130. And once, in winter, on the causeway chill, where home through flooded fields foot travellers go, have I not passed thee on the wooden bridge, wrapped in thy cloak and battling with the snow, thy face toward Hingsay and its wintry ridge? During winter, the scholar was once seen on the causeway where the travellers walk by foot through the fields that are flooded. The scholar had passed the wooden bridge, dressed in cloak. He was making his way in the snow, heading towards Hingsay Hill and its ridge. And thou hast climbed the hill and gained the white brow of the Cumnor range, turned once to watch while thick the snowflakes fall, the line of festal light in Christchurch Hall, then sought thy straw in some sequestered grange. The scholar climbed the hill and reached the top of Cumnor Range. He turned to watch the snowflakes fall on the Christ Church Hall to look at its festival lights. Then he rested on the straw in some isolated barn. Stanza 14, lines 131 to 140. But what? I dream? 200 years are flown since first thy story ran through Oxford halls, and the grave Glanville did the tale inscribe, that thou wert wandered from the studious walls to learn strange arts and join a gypsy tribe. The poet is now disappointed, as he must have dreamt of scholar. It has been 200 years since a scholar left Oxford University. Glanville had written about the scholar in his book Vanity of Dogmatizing that the scholar had left Oxford University to learn from the gypsy tribe. And thou from earth art gone long since, and in some quiet churchyard laid, some country nook where over thy unknown grave tall grasses and white flowering nettles wave under a dark red-fruited yew tree's shade. The scholar had died and is no more. He must be buried in some country churchyard. By now, tall grasses and white flowering nettles must have grown on his grave under the shade of yew trees that gives red fruits. Stanza 15, lines 141 to 150. No, thou hast not felt the lapse of hours. For what wears out the life of mortal men? It is that from change to change there being rules. It is that repeated shocks again, exhaust the energy of strongest souls and numb the elastic powers. The poet later says that the scholar has not known the passing of time. He wonders what makes the life of the mortal man very tired. Human beings, even those who are strong, become tired and exhausted because of the frequent changes and repeated shocks. It makes the men unable to be flexible. Till, having used our nerves with bliss and teen, and tired upon 1,000 schemes are wet, to the just, pausing genius we remit our worn-out life and are what we have been. People become tired after exhausting their energy thinking about 1,000 different useless schemes. They surrender their tired self to the guiding angel. The guiding spirit wonders what he should bestow on the people at the time of death. Today, we have learnt from stanza 11 to stanza 15, that is lines 101 to 150. Let us continue with stanza 16 in the next video. Thank you.